Hello, fearless changemakers. When's the last time you stepped forward with courage, with excitement and passion for making your world and the world around you a better place? In this podcast, we touch on all those things, stepping forward into advocacy, releasing the shackles from their throats, and speaking openly, courageously, getting into the heart of the issues that matter for them to drive positive change and move forward for a better life, not only for them, but for you, for me, and for the generations that follow. Are you ready to speak up without fear? Fearless Changemaker Academy empowers you to make a difference without losing your voice or your values. For only $44 a month, you can build the tools and gain the confidence to advocate for what matters inside a safe community that's reshaping the future. Learn more at Szabon.com and start speaking fearlessly today. All right, today on Fearless Changemakers, I've got Rob Spehar here of the Spehar Initiative. And Rob, your whole intention and focus is to educate, empower, and elevate the people around you by way of the ripple effect to the rest of their world. So welcome. Thank you for being here. And let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the Spehar Initiative.
Well, thank you very much, Lisa, for having me on. And I will say this, it is nice to be on this end of the podcast, being a guest instead of hosting all the time. So yeah. This is fantastic. Just like Lisa mentioned, my name is Rob Spehar, owner of the Spehar Initiative. I live in Niagara Falls, Canada with my wife and two beautiful girls who we homeschool, and we are a family of salmon. When I say salmon, we mean like we're going against the current, we're going against the mainstream. And the reason for that is because we see a lot of things that are happening in this world today, and we don't agree with it. Mm-hmm. We don't take things for what it actually is. We see things and we investigate. We look deeper, and we ask the questions that a lot of people are afraid to ask. And because of that, we get the answers that we really want. They're not the greatest of answers. It's the truth. It is not comfortable, but it's the things that we need to hear. And that's why I began the Spehar Initiative, because I'm more of an in-your-face kind of a personal mentor. I really shake things up, and I want to bring things to the forefront, things that people are afraid to come face-to-face with within themselves and within society. Yeah. So by doing that, you're changing yourself, which is best for your family, best for everybody else, which is, in the end, what we all want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I love that. I had to pause for a second. I'm so thankful that you clarified. It was like, did he say 7 or salmon? Because the math's not mathing here. Salmon. Absolutely. And, I think there's a lot of people that feel like they're swimming upstream right now. There's a lot of just like either blissful unawareness of just it's easier to ignore and just continue in our own path and stay within our bubble. Or there's a lot of people who are now starting to have that critical thinking, that discernment of stuff that's going on, starting to pause and ask, like, hold up, what is actually happening? And I mean, we could even go into, I don't know if you've heard of it lately, but the current bill C-293 that actually was presented back in 2022 is into its third reading in the Canadian Senate now, which, like, guys, third reading means it's pretty much going to be passing. But even to the point where, is it actually something that you can even turn into a law the way it is written? Because it is so structured on a social protectionism concept, pandemic preparedness. But how do you make that a law? It's not the same as like you're speeding, you broke the law, now you get a ticket. And so discernment is super important in those concepts. And so I'm not asking you to dive into C-293 if you want to, but I'm asking you to start talking about discernment and the value of that and how education is directly linked to that critical thinking.
Wow. I wish I had a shovel with me, because I'm going to start digging over here.
Don't dig a hole, dig a tunnel.
Bill C-293 on top of the other bills that have been passed that really nobody has been made aware of. Yeah. And discernment is a very, very big thing. And you touch on it. Like, I want to educate everybody else as to what is happening around them. We all want to be comfortable, you know, and the reason we want to be comfortable is because that is our ego. Our ego puts us in situations where we feel safe. Everything's gonna be fine. You're not gonna get hurt. We're not gonna upset anybody. We're not gonna upset ourselves. That's good. But is it what's best? Is it what is best for yourself, for your relationship, for your family, for your friends, everything? You have to really look deep within everything. And I'll use Schmovid as a perfect example. You know, when it first came out, I'll be honest, I saw everything on the media and I'm like, oh my God, it's scary. But then they started doing things that had my wife and I questioning, like, why? How come? So we dig a little bit deeper and look at everything else. And like, that doesn't make sense. They're forcing it now. You can't get a job. You can't work and support your family unless you get the thing.
Can't go to the grocery store.
Exactly. You know, and that's just one example. When you ask a logical question about, you know, the education system or something political, and you get yelled at, you get shamed on, you're wearing a scarlet letter pretty much on your chest. How dare you ask that question? That's another flag. That is not that's not the best thing.
No.
You know, and what we're doing with our kids, like we're teaching our children to ask these kind of questions. Don't take everything for what you actually see. Ask. You're curious. Children are more curious than adults, right?
100%.
We're you know, I'm 48 years old. I'm not, you know, like most adults is like, I'm good. Leave everything as it is.
Yeah.
You know? But no, you have to ask the questions, challenge yourself in order to get the real answers. The truth hurts. You heard that old adage, right? The truth hurts. It's true. It does hurt. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But you need to find the real answers in order to live your life to its fullest potential.
Yeah.
If not, who's in control of your life? And there's one word I like to look at, is the word authority. Okay, what is the root word of authority? Author. You are the author of your own life. You are the authority of your own life. Not anybody else, not anybody in Ottawa, not anybody else in the White House, not Justin Trudeau, nothing like that. You are the author of your own life. You are the authority. You look at yourself. You run your life.
Yeah. So how do you walk people through becoming that author of their own life?
Ask questions. I ask a lot of questions because the questions that I ask are really direct and they really have you thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So, for instance, who are you?
Me, myself?
I just role play quickly.
Yeah,
like,
let's do it.
Like, okay, so who are you? And I don't want to hear your name. I don't want to hear where you're from. I'm like, who are you as a person?
The heart of the person, the root. Well, I am a justice seeker and I am infinitely hopeful and faithful and a positive person, but I come with solutions. If I'm not someone who just thinks everything's roses, I know and see where there are issues. However, I work hard to become the solution seeker in the process. And I love being curious and creative.
Awesome. You know, often the answer I get is like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, my name and where I live. And it's like, we don't really look at ourselves.
Yeah. We've attached ourselves to our external things. We've been raised and programmed to think that our material wealth and the things that we hold as items are what define who we are. Our job defines who we are. Well, if that happened, my definition would be so long. I've held many different jobs. I've done many different things. We all have. So that is not the definition of our being. It's what do we bring to the world? What do we contribute to our environment and to the people around us to be able to progress forward, bring the world forward, bring the people forward, and elevate further?
Yeah, absolutely. And another question I would ask is, what is your vision?
My vision is always outside of myself. And it is for being able to elevate and bring people forward, bring them to their highest potential, help them see their value and what they can bring and put into the world through a variety of different ways and measures.
Yeah. Again, I ask that question all the time, and a lot of people don't know what their vision is. Think of a big puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle, 1,000 pieces. You know, when you open up that box, it's a jumbled mess. Yeah. Right? Just like our minds, it's a jumbled mess. But we have to put things in order. We have to put it in filing cabinets so we can look under the alphabetical categories and find, okay, under B, boom, there it is. Yeah. It's sorted. And then the pieces will be put in place slowly to eventually create that final vision.
Yes.
A lot of people don't have a vision. They're just going through their daily lives, wake up, go to work, take the kids to school, pick them up from school, dinner, go to sleep, watch TV, yada, yada. It's repetitive over and over and over again.
Yeah. And why is that? Why do you think they don't have that vision? What have you experienced?
It's a program. Like you said, you were saying before, like everything is external.
Yeah.
We don't look at ourselves. We just look externally at what other people are doing and what's on TV. And it's like, just take some time to yourself and just sit back and say, okay, who am I? What do I want in this life? What do I want for myself? What do I want for my family? If you're single, do you want a relationship? Do you want a family? If you are in a family, what do you want for your kids? What do you want for your relationship with your wife or husband? What do you want?
Yeah.
Right? And then I don't want to go into all the questions that I asked, but the last question.
You don't want to give it all away?
No. Trade secrets. Secrets. One of the last questions I like to ask is, if you do not achieve your vision, what is your life going to look like moving forward? That's when it hits a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's why I like being more in your face. And that's where I'm there to support you and guide you to get to your vision. I'm not doing this to, piss you off or make you sad and depressed. I'm doing this so you can see for yourself what you've been missing out on.
Yeah.
There is so much in this world that people are missing out on because of the pre-programmed, ideas that we have in our mind. Break out of that mold and do something different.
Yeah.
What do you want? And if you don't achieve that, what is your life going to look like? And I'll tell you a quick story about when I was asked that kind of a question.
Yeah.
It was in Florida. It was we were in a hotel room with a bunch of people walking around, and I never met a lot of these people, right? Except for one, the one that was sitting down and he was talking to me, and he asked me, if you were to die tomorrow, what would you be remembered for? Oh man, I was like, I'm a big guy, but the tears whoosh just started coming out because I won't be remembered for much. Oh, he's a funny guy. He gives great hugs. He's a good sense of humor, and that's it. Is this what I'm leaving for my kids, for my wife? It was at that moment that I really, really changed and looked within myself, changed the things within me, changed my thinking. And it's not something that you can blink your eyes and it's going to happen overnight. No, it is a process. Think of it like, picture a ladder. You have all those rungs on the ladder. You got to start on the bottom and your goal's at the top. What is your vision? It's all the little things in between that you do to get to that top vision.
Yeah.
That's
and then before
what
you know
has
it,
to be done.
There's another ladder in front of you too.
Yeah, you keep going. If you're not learning, you're dying.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I mean, you're talking about legacy building there, right? What legacy are you wanting to leave behind? And I don't know about you, but where I come from right now, the current because I'm on the western side of the province of Canada, the current conversation of legacy is usually always linked to a financial legacy or some sort of business, something still tangible outside of ourselves. But the legacy, especially as parents, our legacy is the people we're raising, the quality of person that we are raising and bringing into this world. And that will then carry on the lessons and the knowledge and the critical thinking that we're trying to impose on them. So let's dive into homeschooling. You guys chose to homeschool. I think I saw it was 2020 or somewhere within that range. Obviously, our children were dramatically impacted through that year in particular, just because of school closures, the shift to online learning, this weird quasi homeschooling but not homeschooling concept. So do you mind walking us through that experience of maybe pre-2020 homeschooling decision to then what led you into your final decision for that homeschooling route?
Absolutely, for sure. We had our kids in a private school, so we wanted to give them the best, I'm using air quotes, best education that we can give our kids.
Yeah.
And for a couple of years, we thought, what they were getting was best. I don't want to say which private school we had them in, but throughout the years, we realized like there was something missing. Something wasn't there. Like my eldest, for instance, like she had a moment in the playground where she was being picked on, right? And she went to the teacher, and the teacher said, "Figure it out yourself." Okay. Now she was just about to turn 7 at the time. Okay. In that moment, being told to figure it out yourself, what would be not just my daughter's mindset, but any child's mindset?
Don't care.
You've been picked on, and you're not getting the help.
Yeah.
Who are you going to look for?
There's no one. You'd look for a teacher, but at that point, when you're told to figure out yourself,
you want mom and dad.
Yeah.
We weren't there. We didn't know about this until after the fact.
Yeah.
And because it's not, that problem isn't fixed at that moment in time, what is she carrying on moving forward? What is any child carrying on moving forward? Right?
There's no.
So, no, there's not support. You cannot get the support that a parent can give.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that in a second. So when Schmovid came through and everyone went to online learning, it was detrimental for all kids. And we could see it in ours. Like, we'll hop on and the teacher's there. Hey, nice to see you. Let's all cheer and this and that. And 5 minutes in, my youngest is putting her feet up in the air, just like,
yep,
not interested whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's missing here? Like, this is not the real education that they should be getting, right? So we made that decision to pull them out. It was a transition period because, of course, it's new. Like I went to school. My wife went to school. Like, it was just like, well, the years, elementary, high school, university, college, whatever, right? So it's different for us. What do we do? Where do we go? But once we figured all that out, we could see how they were changing themselves, our kids. They were listening. They could hear us talking. We're there guiding them. I don't remember when you were a child when your parents said to you, "Don't do that because I said so. Don't touch that because I'm your mother or I'm your father."
I am the authority.
Exactly. When you explain to a child as to why you can't do that,
yeah,
they start, interesting, asking questions. What is this? And then you start looking at vocabulary and like, okay, these are some of the words that they don't understand. So we incorporated a software tool, vocabulary tool that we do every single day and have been the last 4.5, going on 5 years now. And that has helped them progress immensely. They are understanding, comprehending, processing vocabulary at a rapid extent. So when we're talking to them now, back then when it first started, it was more difficult. But now, because we've been doing it for so long, yeah, if there's something they don't understand, they'll ask. But more likely than not, they do understand what we're talking about.
That's amazing. And what's the vocabulary tool?
It's called TechnoTutor.
Okay.
And a lot of people think that, oh, you got to sit in front of a computer for 8 hours a day. No, you don't. because it is done on a computer, it's best done with a parent beside the child.
Yeah.
Because they see everything that's happening on the screen.
Yeah.
Half hour, you can go for an hour if you want.
Yeah.
And that's what we do first thing in the morning. And it's not just for children, adults use it as well because we're improving ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a whole other conversation.
A broad vocabulary gets you into doors that you will never even know were there to be opened in the first place because you have an ability to express yourself in the appropriate areas rather than, I'll use one example. We were in a rather like high level political type environment over the last week, and one of our presenters used the word peeps. Well, that's not the environment you use that word, especially when you're presenting in a political governance type concept. You need to use stakeholders or something else. Peeps is not the word to use. And so being able to have that broad vocabulary is massive. And it's important for kids to learn. They don't read the same, and our books aren't written the same as what they were when we were kids to be able to get that vocabulary.
No, absolutely. Like, you can sit down with our girls, they're 11 and 8 right now, and you can have a full-on conversation with them. Yeah. And I guarantee you that they will educate you on horses.
Oh, yeah.
You're from Alberta. You got horses everywhere, but they know horses
That's
to
good.
a level that I didn't. Like, I have no idea. All these different kinds. Kiara's saying to me, is like, oh, this horse and this, and she's saying all these names. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it's a type of horse. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm in Alberta, but it's a horse. It's red, it's roan, it's pink, palomino. That's about as far as I can go.
But yeah, there's so many different things. So now going back to the homeschool point.
Yeah, please.
That's just one aspect. That's just one resource tool that we use.
Yeah.
For them. But there's other things. Life outside of your house. Mm-hmm. It's a school. There's like Mother Nature. Like, my wife, she bakes with them. She cooks with them. If I'm putting together some furniture, if I'm getting something from IKEA, you know what IKEA is like, the little man, and, got to put all the pieces together, like, they're right in there. They're looking at the instructions, like what goes where. They're looking at what screw, what size, this goes here, this goes there. They're looking at the finer details.
Yeah.
They're handling the cordless drill. They're putting all that stuff together.
Amazing.
We're reading books. We have reading time.
Yeah.
This is what home education is. It's like real life skills. And my parents, their Croatian background, love gardening. They have had a garden in their backyard wherever they've lived for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And they're out in the summertime with my parents gardening.
Beautiful.
Pulling tomatoes off of the vine.
Yeah. And that's so good. Even just to know where your food comes from is so crucial. And it's not even, gardening's not hard labor. It's just physical labor at the start and at the end. And when you get to nurture and grow and see the things come to life, you get such a better understanding of that cycle of life. You have a respect for the things that you purchase in the grocery store. Okay, maybe it's a commercial growing process. However, there are still people behind it that are still having to nurture it into the end result that hits the shelves.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Most people don't go in a grocery store and be like, okay, that's the organic section over there. What is the rest of the store then?
Yeah. We can dive into that if you want. I can educate you on the lie of organics.
Oh, well, you and I got a part 2 of my podcast coming up, so we might be digging into that one for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So in terms of homeschooling, so I'm hoping you can maybe give a little bit of guidance or advice for parents who their schedule, their life, their work schedule, those things just truly makes it impossible or not possible for them to even entertain the concept of homeschooling, in part because I will admit half of our public school system, any of our school systems truly, is also childcare. Do you have any guidance or advice for parents who want to be able to elevate their child's education from what they're currently receiving within their system by maybe modeling some homeschooling practices on a smaller scale at home?
I'll go back to it.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Okay.
I've spoken to many parents. I love the one-on-one interaction, sitting down and just, telling my story and helping other parents who want to, embark on this journey. Mm-hmm. I work from home and my wife's a stay-at-home mom. So we are, grateful that we were able to do that easily. Right. Mm-hmm. And I understand not everybody can do that. But you can still have a lot of involvement in your child's education for sure. And when I say ask questions, I mean, what did you learn today?
Yeah.
What happened in school today? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you need help with?
Mm-hmm.
get involved in what they're learning, because you and I know we hear stories from other parents, and I'm not saying I heard this or I saw this. Sorry, I've heard from other parents. There are students who identify as cats. There's litter boxes inside the classroom. Mm-hmm. If you have a classroom of 30 kids and you have one who identifies as a cat, 29 others have to really go along with that.
Yeah.
Especially if they're in grade 3, 4. Like, these are the defining years for a child.
Yeah.
As they get older, you have to conform, you have to conform, you have to conform. Why? Who's the authority? Who's the author of your life?
Yes.
But this is something that parents need to get involved in. Just ask questions, understand what the curriculum is being taught to these kids.
Yeah.
You don't ask, you're never going to know.
No. And the thing is, we can also, because I think we've been raised, you and I, in that generation where you don't actually challenge authority, you don't ask authority like the other figures. Parents, you can ask your school system what the entire school plan is, and they need to give it to you. You can go to your Board of Education and get the recommended syllabus for every single topic for that grade and get that information. It is public information. And so even just identifying those things and knowing that, so you'd be like, okay, my kid is going to go into the horrific year of algebra. We might need to look at getting a tutor. You can be prepared for that, rather than where most of the time, if our child is struggling, math is usually the biggest struggle. So if our child is struggling in math, we're now on a reactive realm of, now they're failing. Now we need a tutor to try and catch them up. Why not be proactive and have someone ready to support them right away? If you're a math genius, then definitely get involved, ask those questions. Yeah. And there is nothing wrong with teaching them the traditional measures of doing math as well. Long division still has a place.
I remember that. I can just see it in my head right now. It was like, big,
you're there soon.
big row of numbers.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring something up here. I don't know what it's like in Alberta, if it's the same as Ontario. It might be just across Canada. In elementary school, if you were to fail in whatever grade that you're in,
you still pass.
You still pass.
Yeah.
So we always talk about, my wife and I, we always say that, the foundation of a great education will set you up for the future.
100%.
Right. So when it comes to failing in elementary school, I can attest this because I didn't get the greatest of marks in elementary school, but I still passed. And math was like my horrible subject, the worst one. And that's carried on throughout my life until I fixed that as I got older.
Yeah.
But moving on each year, you can't fix the previous year's problem because the curriculum does not allow, any child to be left behind. You got to keep going. But if the child doesn't understand, when they get to a certain point, think of like you're building, a skyscraper. Yeah. Your foundation's full of crumbled, bricks and rocks and stone, and then you're building each year on top of that. At what point, what's going to happen? It's going to come crumbling down.
Yeah.
The realities of life is going to come crashing down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You cannot fix that, right? That's why I say it. Parents, ask questions.
Yeah.
Understand, like what is being taught, like what is being shown to your children in school.
Absolutely. And just making yourself available for the kid. Sometimes the kid isn't wanting to answer when you ask the question, but let them know, like, I'm ready when you're ready to tell me. I'm here. And that is a game changer for a lot of relationships. So in terms of, I had a question and now it just escaped me, but anyways, let's move forward into setting those foundations. So you work with adults mostly, correct?
Yep.
So what happens if you come across an adult where that foundation wasn't really set? And they're now 30, 40 years old, realizing like, oh shit, I got to make some changes. How do you help someone through that foundation repair process?
Ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I'm circling back to that again, but ask the questions that really, will trigger you. You know, we throughout life, we suppress a lot of things, a lot of emotional trauma, things that happen through our lives. It's like we don't want to come face to face with it. But it's those things that happen within our lives in elementary school, in high school, in university, throughout whatever years, you carry that trauma with you. Yeah. So as an adult, if something was to happen in your daily life, something will be triggered unconsciously.
Yeah.
And that unconscious part of you is your younger self.
Absolutely.
It doesn't come up. It's there. It's sitting there. If you don't fix that, it's going to stick with you. And you will be doing the same thing. You get time loop going over and over again. Why am I getting a boss who's such an ass every single time? Sorry, I don't know if I could say that on your
I
podcast.
just said the word shit, so you're fine.
Why am I getting an asshole of a boss? Why can't I get, a great partner? Why can't I find a husband? Why can't I find a wife? Like, why?
Yeah.
It's because you're doing the things in your daily life unconsciously that keep getting you the same things. So it's those things that you have to unravel, that you have to look at. So any moment that those triggers come up, you write them down. You have to write them down.
Yes.
Right.
Get them out.
Think of an opera singer. With an opera singer, not you, but like an opera singer hits that specific note and the glass breaks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to do with your past memories, past thoughts, past traumas. You have to break that connection. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that Technotutor does. It reopens our natural learning ability. I don't know if you heard of natural learning ability.
Yep.
We all have it. For those of you who aren't aware, from ages 0 to 7, those are the formative years for a child. After age 7, it closes. And as you get older, it's like sealed shut. But we could reopen that. And that's how you really reprogram your thoughts for your mind.
Yeah.
That's how, as an adult, you go back and fix everything.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm 48, been around the sun a few times. I got a lot of shit that I got to unpack,
Yeah.
And this is like what I was talking about before. You don't want to come face to face with it, but you have to. You need to, not have, but you need to.
Yeah.
When you come face to face with it and you can heal that, that's when you can move forward.
Yeah. And really that's a marker of a quality leader, is someone who has gone through facing that ugliness and has worked through it or identified it to be able to then move forward in change, but also in modeling that process to be able to make change and help pull people along and bring them forward.
Exactly. Like when this was first brought to my attention, like really look at yourself. Like, who are you? And I realized, like, oh my God, I'm my parents. So like how I was acting,
our biggest nightmare.
We love our parents. We love our parents. But what they were taught, growing up, they instilled it into us. Yeah. And we do that to our kids. It's that generational,
absolutely trauma.
Yeah. So we have to fix that. We have to see that. We have to understand what is happening. You look at our kids. If you see yourself yelling at your child, look back. Let's take a pause. Yeah. So what's going on here? Where have I seen this before? Then you start thinking back.
Yeah.
Or you're driving down the road. You see a car accident. Oh, I remember when I was in a car accident. What did you do? You went the other way. You went away from it. So you'll turn somewhere unconsciously because something happened to you when you were younger.
That's fair.
It's important that we come face to face with these things. If we don't, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah. You got to face the storm and walk through it instead of be the buffalo, not the cow, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you use technology, but is there an area where you have caveats or concerns about technology?
AI.
Okay.
That's a biggie. AI, cell phones, computers, media, mainstream media, all the apps. Yeah. You look at a lot of kids nowadays, they're on their phones. I think, who was it? Somebody just announced, it was new education minister, that they're banning phones from schools and something else.
Alberta, they have. Yeah.
Yeah. So how bad has it gotten that we have to do that now? Right? Everything's on your phone, on your phone, on your phone, on your phone. Look at this, look at this. Yeah. And when I talk about AI, sure, when it comes to business, AI can be an excellent tool, to support, business leaders. But now you see the younger generation, teenagers using AI now to, write me an essay on theory of relativity and how it relates to today. Boom, 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 spits it out, pop it into some app that, check for plagiarism. Here you go. What is that student, what do they learn in that time span?
How to use AI.
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't know if you saw, I saved some screenshots on my phone. I wanted to read about character AI. I don't know if you ever heard of
I actually have not heard of character AI. However, I have heard of the ones where, and maybe it is character AI, where you can put in a picture of your face and it gives you like 7 different artist renderings of your face in AI. I have never done it because I'm like, no, that just doesn't seem right.
I haven't done it either, but a lot of teenagers are doing this with celebrities.
Absolutely.
And characters from the TV shows. And I don't know, you heard of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I've never seen one episode of Game of Thrones.
Neither have I.
And I don't think we're missing out on anything.
No.
But there was this one character. Okay, I gotta look here. Daenerys Targaryen or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very popular character, and character AI created this one through a 14-year-old boy. Right. So a little bit of context. So a mother sues character AI after her 14-year-old son dies by suicide due to falling in love with Daenerys Targaryen AI chatbot. Oh. That's the headline that I saw. Okay. And you can go check out evolving.ai on Instagram because they posted this, and there's a little video of the mother talking, one of the last things that, he was saying before he killed himself. It's basically here. During their final conversation, the teen repeatedly professed his love for the bot, telling the character, quotes, "I promise I will come home to you. I love you so much, Danny." Just seconds later, the 14-year-old shot himself with his father's handgun, according to the lawsuit.
Oh.
So, a couple of things here. I don't know the whole history about this 14-year-old, what his life was like in school or whatnot. He's obviously reaching out. Yeah. He's feeling that he's not getting something. He's getting something, what he wants, what he needs from a chatbot. Yeah. And this is another thing about, rest in peace. Like, I don't want to knock on the parents at all, but this is where the parents should be involved daily in what is happening with this child. What's going on in school? What is happening? Like you were saying, I'm here. Yeah. When you're ready, I'm here to talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about things. What can we do? Like, what's on your mind?
Yeah.
Nowadays, kids, they come home from school, they're on their phone, go in the room, play a game, online game, just shut off to the reality of the world. Go into meta reality or whatever the hell it is. They're just shutting off.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm all about one-on-one human interaction. Whenever I meet somebody, you want to do a Zoom call? I'm like, if you're in my area, no, I want to go meet and let's go have a coffee.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But hearing this, sorry, I just wanted to finish up with this with this story. This is just one incident.
How many more are there?
Why are children shutting off? Like, why is this okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
In the wrong hands, AI can be very, very dangerous. The music industry has come out and said, AI, no, we don't want any part of that, because Suno app, I don't know if you heard of that, you can make your own songs. And you can make it sound like a certain artist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's plagiarism in the end. It's breaking a lot of copyright laws. As you mentioned, art as well. It'll create stuff based off of, Salvador Dali's style for an art creation. And it's like, but that's not yours. Go pick up your own paintbrush and find out what your own style is, because every artist has their own style. Just like we all have our own writing style. We all have our own fingerprints. There's a reason for that. And it's interesting, like, even if we just have conversations with the people around us about our phone usage, being like, look, 6 o'clock, my phone's turned off, so don't bother calling me. Like you can set boundaries around that. I remember having conversations with friends being like, remember back in the day where there was a hard and fast rule, like you never phoned anyone until after 9 a.m. and you didn't call them at 5 to 7 because they're having supper. And if it was 9 p.m., you never called. And then if the phone was not answered, you're like, oh, I guess they're not home. I'll try again later, rather than the follow-up text message and every other point of contact. And it's like, we can go back to setting those boundaries. And some people might not appreciate it to begin with. However, you're subconsciously giving them permission to do the same. And that's the beautiful part. And so like for kids, for us, for my daughter, I have a hard and fast rule of there is like no cell phone until 16. And even then, I am pushing hard that it's going to be your flip phone that is maybe T9 text and phone and like phone call, and that's it. And my husband's finally jumping on board and finally understanding it, in part because we will go out for dinner and our 11-year-old child is sitting there with us and she's looking around and she will openly say, how sad is that? There's a grandma and her 2 grandkids, and they're all staring at their phones. And it's like, your awareness on that is the most important message that we can receive. And I'm so glad that she's saying it and acknowledging it and realizing that there's so much more to that outside world than what's inside this little computer that controls us.
It is a very big world out there. I live in Niagara Falls, Canada. Natural 7 wonders of the world is pretty much on my doorstep. It's about a half-hour drive from where I live. There's so much to learn.
Yep.
And if there's something that, a mom or dad is, particularly really skilled in, like mechanics, auto mechanics, fixing cars, like I love geography. I love, studying the world, the earth, like anything, astrology, something like that. Talk to your kids and be like, hey, you want to learn about this?
Yeah.
You want to know why it's daytime and nighttime? Do you know why we get the seasons?
Yeah.
Most people don't know that, the earth spins on an axis, and then it also spins on the sun, and on a larger scale in the galaxy,
The flat earthers are going to hate you right now.
Come at me. I don't care. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah. No, but it's true. And I mean, in the end, let's go back to homeschooling. We only call it homeschooling because we needed to create a new title that wasn't traditional schooling. In the end, it's just learning. It's education. Travel is learning and education.
Yep.
Being taught the trade, mechanics, whatever, it's education. And if we go back to even further our traditional methods of learning, it was all in the moment, hands-on, as we go. And baking alone is probably one of the best math lessons you could give a kid. Following a recipe, going grocery shopping on a budget, understanding money. How does it all add up? Putting in the GST and the PST for you, taxes on top of that. How does that change the end total? Understanding those things. Those are the things we need to be learning, not tangents and integers. But if we can invest ourselves to lifelong learning as adults, then we pass on the lesson and the importance of lifelong learning in every single realm that we're in to the children who are looking up to us for guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We set the example. Our kids are watching us. They may not look like they're watching us, but they're watching us. My oldest calls me out my bullshit all the time. Perfect. Oh, I saw Dad doing this. I saw Dad on his phone. I was like, oh, geez, what have I created? No, no, but that's good. That's good. But this is the family dynamic. We're all keeping each other responsible for our actions, because sometimes what we're doing is it's not best in the moment. It's like if I'm, doing something on the computer, I'm doing some work and trying to, work on some content. Next thing you know, I'm on my phone scrolling. You don't even realize it. It's just like, I got a message. Next thing you know, Instagram, Facebook, like. Oh shit, 15, 20 minutes has just passed.
Yes.
It's just, you don't even realize it. That's how habitual it can become.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny because you touch on what I truly think is the key reason why our governments, provincial and federal, are now all of a sudden talking about this like productivity crisis that's happening. And in part, we're so distracted with all the other things that we're not actually being able to focus on what is productivity in our field of excellence. And we are no longer interacting with a variety of different thoughts and different groups and promoting that productivity through conversation, through questions, through partnership, through developing relationship, because we have gotten into such a divide socially, which is actually a political divide, which is where we're at, and we need to be siloed to feel safe. So how would you encourage people to fight or not fight, work towards getting out of those silos and start being productive in their lives, in their professional realm?
First off, not ask questions.
Oh,
no.
darn.
Oh, absolutely. If you want to ask questions, go right ahead. But first and foremost is be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like really, really look at yourself and be honest. Like, am I happy in my current state? Am I happy, my current situation? Sorry, that was the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't change my situation, well, what's it going to look like? Will I be providing for my children, my family, and so on? And you have to be honest with yourself. If you're not honest, you're deceiving yourself, and then you're suppressing again. That shit's got to come up. Why aren't you happy? Why aren't you doing this? Why not? That's when the old programs start kicking in. You don't fix those old programs, like I was saying, it's going to come to bite you in the ass moving forward, right? So self-honesty is key. That's very, very important. And also is to find and or build a community of other people who, are asking questions and seeing things for what they're not, right? Like, because when we're stronger together.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, we're siloed, we're separate, and I liken it to like a zombie post-apocalyptic world. I knew it was going to get out there somehow.
It's a tongue twister.
All the humans are scattered all over the world.
Yeah.
They're in hiding because there's people or zombies out there that are going to come after you.
Yeah.
That's what society is like right now. If I went out in the streets right now and just started yelling, homeschooling is the best, it's better than public education system, I'll probably get rocks thrown at me or something.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it's because of that people are like, oh, can't say anything, I'm scared. Or a parent who's bringing their child to school and doesn't agree with everything, but has to conform because all the other parents, all the moms or the dads are like, well, I gotta make sure that they're happy.
Oh no.
Don't do
that.
That's why we're at where we are today.
Yeah.
Because we're not standing up. We're not standing out. I'm sure if you were to look at the numbers, the people who are talking like us, thinking like us, the numbers are a lot higher than people think.
Oh, 100% they are. And homeschooling, I love it. The stats, I think across North America, homeschooling has nearly doubled in the last 4 years.
Yep.
And so we can point directly to a few main reasons, but it has also opened up that awareness that our kids were only learning for about an hour and a half, 2 hours every day, in contrast to what we were led to believe was happening in those classrooms. And it's behavior management. And I get you put a whole bunch of unique individuals into one room, you're going to have to manage behavior. However, the boundaries can't be enforced in the same way that they once were either.
No.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, parents, ask what's happening in the classroom.
Yeah.
Just like a couple questions, and that's it. And of course, yeah, you get into teenage years like, oh my God, mom, dad, like, oh, like, leave me alone, like, don't embarrass me. No, you gotta do it. You got to let them know that mom and dad are here. We're here to support you.
Yeah.
We're here to make sure that you have everything.
Yeah.
Ignore. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was going to say my favorite trick with teenagers is sometimes it doesn't work, but if you have a book that's shared, the teenager can write down what's going on, the parents read it, and it becomes that way. So you don't have like the kid can just get it out without being interrupted, and the parent can read it to understand. And they can write back and ask questions that way too. Because sometimes teenagers just don't want to communicate because there's so much going on in there.
Yeah, exactly. They shut down and then they go into virtual reality, into an alternate world where they feel that they can do whatever they want. They feel like a hero. And then you come back into reality and it's like they're depressed, they're mad, they're angry because no one's talking to you.
Yeah.
Human interaction.
Yeah, super important. Yeah.
And there's one thing that I want to challenge a lot of parents, a lot of adults.
Yeah.
When I talk about creating a vision for yourself, vision for your family, put your hand out. Work with me here, Lisa. Come on, put your hand out. Picture an acorn in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see?
A seed. Potential.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you wanting more?
No. Well, this just shows people's depth of vision. You put your hand down. Creating a vision for yourself. So when I say, look at your hand, what do you see? You see an acorn. Okay. You see a seed. Okay. Why don't you see cities? Why don't you see buildings? Why don't you see a future of freedom and education for everybody? A lot of people don't look at that. They only look for what it is in front of you. Depth of vision. Really urge everybody out there, look at what you want in your life. Seriously, look at it. Oh, I'll never get that. Fuck that.
No,
you can edit that out if you want. That's your ego talking.
Yeah.
Ego is going to keep you comfortable.
Yeah, and keeps you small.
Change your programming. Yeah. Go for what you want.
Absolutely. And we were never designed to play small.
Nope.
We were designed to create and to be masters in the grand scheme, which maybe it's not cities or structures, but it is connection, creation, and that thirst for real knowledge and education.
Yeah. Look at mankind. Look at the history of mankind, how it has been moving forward constantly. We only go by what we read in books. We don't really know what happened way back when, but how we've advanced technology, the wheel, cars, the combustion, engine of cars, how it moves forward, the differential, how it moves, and all these things. We as humans are adapting. We're moving forward, getting better.
Yeah.
But the system today puts us in a debt. It's a debt-based system. It keeps us where we are. It does not, like you said, does not allow us to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Break from that mold. Get your head out of that one box. Put it in a new box. Change things up.
Yeah. And I would add, seek people who are going to challenge you to do that rather than the safe people. Yeah, like Rob.
Exactly.
Rob, fabulous. Thank you so much. I feel like we could talk forever, but I do want to be mindful of your time as well.
I know. So. Thank you very much for having me on. This is fantastic. And yes, we could keep talking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do look forward to the part 2 on your podcast. And
right on.
Yeah, I feel like you've touched on it, but from the perspective of hope for the future, what do you see? What do you vision?
What do I vision? A world that's best for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Where everybody has access to water, to food. This earth is very abundant in resources. There is no reason why there should be people starving. There should be people homeless, living in tent cities. All children should have equal education. There is no reason why none of that should be existing right now. It's only existing because we allow it to exist.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing things based on the system that we're in.
Yeah.
And this is the result.
Yeah.
So I want to leave this podcast with one question to everybody out there. Are you here to live, or are you here until you die?
Oh, that's
we'll
a
leave
big
it at
one.
that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Rob.
Thanks, Lisa.